And we're still working our way down the news purge. We've still got West Virginia worry, Oregon oddities, Obama-Saya updates, but first, all the insanity and murder and mayhem that you can handle. We'll start off with a mention. Middle-aged suicide rates on the rise in the U.S. That's from NewsmaxHealth.com, of course, tying it in with the controlled demolition of our economy. It's no accident. 41-year-old woman executed in Virginia. Meanwhile, Schwarzenegger delays an execution. And on, the copycat effect, the clustering of these mass shooter events, the mass murder contagion, as we call it. 2 were shot, and of course the gunman killed at Fort Bliss.
And unfortunately, we have an incident that occurred today at Fort Bliss.
The FBI has opened a criminal investigation into several shots fired on post at a shopette, a small grocery store and gas station. The shots were reported at 3 on Monday afternoon, and law enforcement arrived on the scene within 3 minutes.
There were 2 victims that we are aware of at this time.
The alleged shooter was killed on the scene by Fort Bliss law enforcement.
Our law enforcement agents took it upon themselves to react immediately and aggressively, and I think that's the main reason why this didn't escalate further than it is right now.
This is not the first shooting on post. In April of last year, a man killed his wife, a soldier, at the PX. That had been the first incident of its kind in 20 years.
It concerns me a little bit because, this town used to just be real quiet, real calm, not a whole lot going on.
But he believes more incidents like these can be expected.
We have so many soldiers living here now, which is great for our city because it boosts the economy, but at the same time, we also have a lot of the soldiers that have problems, coming in off deployments or, problems at home.
Now that clip was pretty gruesome audio clarity-wise, but you can hit up the links to murder-suicide.blogspot.com for the original report. But what he was essentially saying is you have people that have been traumatized by wars of aggression, where they've killed civilians and families, all for the empire, chewed up and spit out. And as they did note in there, the FBI is investigating this Fort Bliss murder/suicide. The founder of Segway millionaire, who, of course, just happened to have defense industry ties to British and American militaries, found dead. Jimmy Heselden, owner of Segway, died after riding one of the 2-wheeled machines off a cliff and into a river. 62 years old. Another interesting death, and they always seem to be connected to the very industries that are on the front of the news. And as if, again, all these things weren't copycat replays, like Charles Whitman, police say man kills self after shooting at UT.
We were telling you just a short time ago, we were able to get down by PCL. You actually might be able to hear right now the sirens going off on campus. This is to alert students that something is going on. In just a minute, you're going to be able to hear the voice come over the monitor, letting folks know somebody running up the street here. Definitely a lot going on out here. I want to show you some video from just moments ago of just a lot of activity in front of PCL. At this time, we're still getting the same information you are back at the station as far as an individual, possibly have shot him or herself inside PCL. It's just, such a scary thing for students out here. So many people spend so much of their time inside that building. I actually, as a grad student, spend what feels like half my life inside of that library. So it's certainly just a scary time for people who are in there. Many times during the early morning hours, there are a lot of students inside PCL before class begins. I know because I've been there a lot of the times in the morning setting. So at this time, though, we don't know how many individuals were inside the library at the time. We're still waiting for word as far as any injuries.
And you can tell the shakiness in her voice, selling you on the fear that a mass shooter is just around the corner. Again, we don't fly off the handle on this show and say that everything's a conspiracy, everything was an inside job. But red flags start to appear on events that get a lot of news coverage. So what about this amazing coincidence? This UT shooting just happened to cancel a pro-gun speech that was about to take place. A shooting at the University of Texas campus that was initially blamed on a lone nut took on a political aspect after it emerged that the incident coincided with a speech by Second Amendment expert John Lott about the right to concealed carry that was due to take place that night, but of course was canceled. Lott appeared on InfoWars and indicated, quote, "The dean for the law school expressed concern about me talking about this subject, so I think they had some trepidation to begin with." Pardon the racket outside the studio. Jesus, everywhere I go, they're running lawn implements or movers or construction. But again, just an amazing coincidence as we fall apart here. I believe legitgov.org goes into the oddities connected and contained in this story. I believe the guy's last name was Tooley. A site I made contact with recently, criminaljusticeuniversity.net. They've got the rundown on 8 gunmen that went postal, just giving you the flashback and the context for a lot of these other mass murder contagion events. Again, speaking of copycat effect, copycateffect.blogspot.com. Lauren Coleman getting into the recent wave of NFL suicides. Award-winning Quentin Tarantino film editor Sally Menke, M-E-N-K-E, found dead in the Hollywood Hills, apparently of heat. And I'll only speculate, is there a Tarantino body count? With Carradine's supposed autoerotic asphyxiation death. The prosecutor in the Ted Stevens corruption trial commits suicide right on time. Ted Stevens, of course, just passing away. Another plane crash death, of course, connected with British Petroleum. Sinister forces, my friends. We're going to close out the murder and mayhem with a bizarre story that, again, I heard from groundzeromedia.org. The man who fell to earth.
If a man falls from the sky but nobody can find a trace of him, did it really happen? That's what they're asking in Egg Harbor Township tonight. New Jersey correspondent Nora Mushanek is live on the Black Horse Pike, where she talked to a woman who swears she saw it happen. Nora?
Jim, we're just a couple of miles from the Atlantic City Airport and the FAA Tech Center, so the people who work at this veterinarian's office are used to seeing planes fly overhead. But they say yesterday it wasn't a plane. They saw a body falling from the sky in the distance over that tree line. And the mystery now is, if that's true, where is that person?
There's no doubt that it was a person. We are 100% sure.
Kelly Hale was one of 3 employees at Shore Veterinarians on the Black Horse Pike in Egg Harbor Township near the Cardiff Circle, who looked out this window Tuesday afternoon to see a horrifying sight in the sky.
I seen the guy falling on an angle like this, straight down.